Hey guys, Mark Lyon here. Today we're going to talk about how to attach your rope to your saddle. There's about 4 basic methods. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each one and also what each style says about you. I can generally infer some general guidelines on how you tie your rope to your saddle and what that says about your personality. So we're going to go over that. If that's what you're looking for, stay tuned. So there's not, I shouldn't say there's nothing, but there's very few things that are more iconic than a cowboy and his rope. So yeah, there's several ways to attach it. And when you attach it to your saddle, that says something about you. And we're gonna go through the different styles. We're gonna start at the bottom of the list. Now, I don't want people mad at me thinking I'm looking down on you. I can tell you, I too also, at one time in my life, did not know how to rope. I was fairly along in years before I learned how to rope. And the first time I went to a clinic, I was pitiful. It was bad. But as I've gotten better, I've progressed in my ways that I attach it to my saddle. And so we're going to go over, starting at the bottom. So don't feel targeted. This is the saddle string. So most saddles have a saddle strings on their deals. A lot of them have ones back here and up front. Some of them also have them here and here. But yeah, some guys will just attach it right here. They'll just wrap it around there a couple times and tie it, and that's where they'll have it. Nothing wrong with that. Generally, if I see you do this, I can infer that you're, on a scale of 1 to 10 in roping skill, you're a 3 or 4 or below. That's what those people do, and nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people that you're just not going to use a rope that much, right? And some people, they have it because in their trail class they have to rope a dummy, or they have to drag a log, or yeah, you're trail riding and you just want to be able to drag a log out of the way, or your four-wheeler got stuck and you're going to pull it out. And yeah, you don't claim to be any amazing roper. You just need to attach your rope to your saddle until you get ready to use it. So nothing wrong with that, okay? You'll see some guys, they'll take a piece of saddle string and they'll cut a little slit in the end of it like that. And then when they attach it, they'll wrap it around there a couple, 3 times, and then they'll put the slit over their horn like so. And normally those guys, their horns are fairly small. They don't normally ride in a saddle with a big horn because, they're not roping a lot. They'll cut a slit big enough that they can slip it over their horn, and they'll just have it hanging down. Sometimes it'll be the saddle string there. Sometimes they'll use a different one, and they'll just attach it somewhere. They'll stick it there. Yeah. Also, normally a little step up. Those are your high 3s to 4s. Like that's a step up in the. This isn't your first time you've swung a rope, and so you're a little bit more aware of the different methods and the different ways to do it. I say nothing wrong with any of those. Yeah, normally they tend to be more on the beginner side. Okay, the next typical method is the bungee cord or the rubber band, and so you'll see this a lot with team ropers. You'll see day workers, ranch hands will use this. They'll get a big, thick inner tube, and they'll cut some strips out of it, or some dally wrap. Team ropers will put rubber dally wrap around their horn, and they'll take a piece of that and either use it full size, or they'll cut it down a little bit. That's what these are. And then they'll tie a piece around their gullet, and then they'll put their rope in it, pull it over the top, and it'll hold it there. If I do it, I generally put them over the horn, and then I take this piece over the top of that like that. Keeps it a little higher, not hanging down so far, and yeah, tends not to bounce as much, so that's why I like it. Now, generally, these are going to be your 4s and above ropers, all right? So these are anywhere from, pretty decent, all the way to expert. Generally, these are going to be guys that want to get their rope out in a hurry. This is the quick draw of roping. They're going to be hunting wild cattle, and they never know when that cow's going to jump out, and they're going to need to build a loop and go to it. So there's a good deal of speed that's acquired when you have it, so you can get to it easy. It's kind of nice that way. So generally I don't do it, but if I'm somewhere where I'm going to need to hustle and get my rope, if I'm doing like a SHOT Show or a ranch horse facility class, and I'm going to have to rope the cow at the end, then I'll have it attached like that, so I don't have to spend very much time getting my loop down and my rope down in my loop belt. So good way to do it. Okay, so the next way is the dedicated rope strap and the buckle, and that's what this one has. Now you're going to see this with the ranch guys, day workers, most of your big loop ropers, your buckaroo style, anybody that's got a big horn, a lot of times we'll be using this style. Yeah, all your wades, those guys. So it uses a strap. It's normally attached either underneath. Most of those guys will also use, they don't use rubber on their horn, they'll use what they call mule hide. And it's just chap leather that goes around there. And so wherever it's attached, they'll put their piece underneath there. How I do it, there's lots of different ways to do it. I normally take it over the top like that first, around the horn, and then I come back here. And then I wrap it around here a few times. You can go as many times as you want. Yeah. Normally 2 is plenty. Normally 3 or 4, sometimes 5. The more you pull it up here, the more it'll kind of make this loop up here just a little bit higher on your leg. The lower it is, more forward it is, it tends to move and be a little bit more floppy if it's down. So normally I'm in, this range with mine. But yeah, now these guys, when you're watching these guys, yeah, they're normally pretty handy ropers, but they're going to be doing a style of stockmanship that they're going to gather the cows in a bunch, and then they're going to doctor them or rope them or whatever. And so that the speed to get your loop out isn't the top necessity. So that's kind of what this is. Now, the guys that do this, there are 2 trains of thought on what to use for your strap. I tend to use something like this. This is a piece of saddle string. Yeah, not quite. Yeah, it's probably 1/2 inch and 1/8 inch or so thick. I've also got a little hole punched on here and a little stress relief in case the rope got caught on something, got hung up on a branch, whatever. Maybe we get entangled in it and we want it to break away. So that's what that's there for. Now, the thicker it is, the less likely it's going to break away, and then you're inherently a little bit more dangerous then. And some guys, particularly cowboys, they thrive on danger. In fact, they'll use a really thick one. And the reason they do is because they ride horses that tend to buck a little bit, and yeah, they want to be able to grab that rope and hold themselves into the saddle a little bit. And especially those bigger horned wades and yeah, it's not easy to grab a hold of. Your smaller horns, you can grab a hold of it, and it's a good thing to, you can get a purchase on it, you can get a grip on it. These big ones, well, you're not going to get a very good grip on something grabbing it like this, and then your rope's in the way. Even if you were to grab it here, you can't close your hand on it. You're kind of like that on it. It's not a very good way to really hold on. So a lot of those guys, they'll hold on to their rope, and so it's of course right there, and so they'll just grab onto it and they'll pull on that thing to kind of hold them in the saddle, and they do not want that thing breaking while they're holding on to it for some balance and for some security. And good reason to use a thick one. I will say that those guys that like to ride those kind of horses also tend to, I don't know if it's pursue, but they always seem to be involved with a woman who also exhibits red flags of every shape and size. So It may be the guy's personality that he likes riding horses that may buck, and also dates mates that are also dangerous and maybe sometimes get out of control. But yeah, it's neither here nor there. Different strokes for different folks. But I like mine. Yeah, I want to be able to hold on to it. I don't want to, if I give a little tug on it, moving myself in the saddle, I don't want it to break. But if I were to become entangled with it, or if this got entangled with a tree or a fence post or something, I certainly want it to not be stuck on there like a steel cable. I definitely don't want it. I would like it to break before some other things did. So for me, I use a pretty heavy duty saddle string, and that's good enough for me. But if you know what you're going to use it for, whether you're thinking you're going to use it as a securement to keep yourself in the saddle, you might want to use a little thicker one. But I tend to pride myself on getting them not to buck. And some guys, they pride themselves on riding bucking horses. So all depends on your goal, I guess. Anyway, those are some of the methods used to attach a rope and what it says about the cowboy that's using it. So maybe you'll be able to watch and see kind of what different guys are using, and you'll get a little peek in maybe their personality. Anyway, hope you guys found this helpful. Catch you later.